This the link up. This the link up. This the link up. Welcome to the link up. This the link up. This the link up. This the link up. Welcome to the link up. Oh.
Yes. Welcome back to the link up, everybody. You know, this is your host, Mr. King.
Yes, and your boy, Kana.
And thanks for joining us on another edition of the link up. You know, we are the voice of the Caribbean. And today, you know, it's just me and Kana, no guests today or whatever. So we'll just dive right into our topics, what we have on the list. And first up, we'll briefly touch on, you know, the Hurricane Irma situation, just looking up some of the updates on how it is now.
But I guess we could start off with everybody, thanking everybody, those who donated already and those who still say that they're going to donate. Is really appreciated. St. Martin has been, you could say it's been getting there compared to the first day after the hurricane. Some places have electricity. Some places...
Yeah, I recently saw a Facebook post saying that Ebenezer got current again, got electricity again. I saw that I think UTS phone lines are now up as well.
Yes,
I believe.
some of them, not necessarily all. Last time I heard it was in some districts or certain districts was definitely had service and stuff like that. But
it's still shaky basically. We still ain't got like 100% backup when we had telecommunications.
No, I think only Telcel, if I'm mistaken, is almost like 100% backup. Almost like they're giving away credit and all that kind of stuff to the people. What do you call it? Hurricane relief.
That's part of the hurricane relief. Yeah, and, free credit.
And you would swear something like $10 or something like $5 they're giving people.
I mean,
okay, cool, it's something. But
$5 times how many people on the island and stuff. I mean, there is a lot of $5 from the company's perspective.
Okay,
still, but
granted. But I mean, who is the locals either thinking from at least like Lord man 10?
Listen, I mean, I feel like we gotta be appreciative. Cause they could have just been like, you know, we ain't had to do this at all. Like, I feel like in a situation where it's like we're somebody doing something for free voluntarily, just like you can't like beg. Like my mother would always say, you know, beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah,
and I ain't trying to say that people was begging or whatever for looking out or waiting for Telcel to do something like that. But I mean, they did what they did. I feel like it was a nice gesture. It is something. It may not be a whole lot, but it's still something.
I guess. Okay, you're right. What I believe I saying it could have been a little bit more because they purposely doing it's for local and international calls. Okay, cool. That's all fine.
How long $5 gonna last on the international
That is
call?
my point. And the thing is now the international okay, cool. The communication on the island itself is important because you gotta know where to go if you're getting like food or water from the distribution places or like your loved ones and stuff like that. Cool, understandable. But don't come and like brag, oh yeah, I give you $5 and you could go and call internationally for what? 2 minutes? 1 minute?
Yeah, just be like, hey, you okay? Okay,
hey,
then cool. Bye. Yeah.
Credit done.
The essentials, you don't gotta have a conversation planned out. Know what it is you're going to say, know to communicate in the shortest amount of time possible, be effective and efficient with your words.
This might get some heat. This might get me some heat, but in that kind of case, only man got called.
But yeah. Too many unnecessary things gonna be discussed.
Yeah, but, how you do? Hey, your shampoo there, okay? You got conditioner still? Hey, you gotta. But yeah, no, it's
that's a sexist remark.
It is a bit, but hey, you know, we trying to brighten it up a little bit.
How dare you?
Hey, look, I say shampoo and conditioner. At least I ain't say like lipstick and them kind of ones, or your oven mitts there still. Cause that would be a bad sexist remark. That's a bad one.
But one thing though, on this whole hurricane situation, I definitely realized like just the amount of fake news and thing. I feel like that's still a fascinating thing because there's still so many things, at least contradictory reports. I feel like coming out regarding certain things that is not clear. That I feel like I almost don't even want to talk about anything because you probably might just hear that is not exactly that way or it's kind of exaggerated or like.
No, but I want to touch upon a funny one. I don't know if it's fake or not, but I would see a Facebook post. Somebody was like, the Dutch people, the Dutch media up here talking about how St. Martin low on food and we eating monkeys.
Yeah,
and them, I started to laugh.
I saw like 2 headlines. I saw one from the Daily Herald, I think it was, that they reported the story that the animals were stolen from the zoo or something like that. And then I saw one earlier that was exactly about what you're talking about, that people were supposedly eating things from the zoo or whatever. I don't know how legitimate any of it is. I really don't.
I mean, I didn't know we was Vietnamese.
Like, that you see, now that may possibly be a racist joke. Like, I mean, you're trying to alienate everybody.
No. That's not a racist something.
So you're saying it's just factual that
factual. They have little villages and stuff in like the deep jungles of Vietnam that they want to eat monkeys. Like that's a dish. Like the monkey brain is a dish.
True that. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising. People eat all kind of stuff, and most of it is just culturally based. Like,
yeah, I mean, they have restaurants that specifically caters to dog. That's their culture. That not necessarily mean I want it, but
I mean,
anyway. Back to what we were saying.
Yeah.
That whole monkey thing was one of the, I guess you could say, quote unquote fake. Well, it might not be fake news since you practically here telling me that you see it as well.
Yeah, like I but just cause I saw it, I mean, if I check in the same sources as you and stuff, which I mean social media and things, whatever articles floating around on social media.
When I mean fake news, the fact that it was reported, not the fact that what we reported was factual or not.
Yeah. Well,
so that, I mean, stuff like that is ridiculous, man. I mean, I can understand. Yeah, it's bad. It was bad in St. Martin, the looting and the savagery and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, Lord, man, we in some kind of third world. I mean, okay, some people was moving on like it was third world country, but
that was another thing though, because I saw another article, and this is one that I actually shared, that was talking about the amount of coverage, the amount of articles that certain Dutch news outlets, the amount of time they spend covering specifically the looting aspect of what was going on in St. Martin, as if that was the only thing that was going on in St. Martin, or that was the only development that there was to be reported in regards to the Irma situation. And there was all kind of things that, in my opinion, may be newsworthy, but they may not generate as much clicks and stuff like that. And I feel that was just.
But you see, you hit the nail on the head. It's because it's not going to generate as much clicks, is why they're not going to report it.
Stories from shop owners and things giving out the free food and things, handing out free bread.
Cake House, shout out Cake House.
Exactly. That was one that I meant in particular. Like, things like that, I feel more attention should be spent on those type of efforts, and just the amount of unification being shown throughout the island in certain areas and things like that, from the Marines helping out in certain things. Like, but even that was a potential controversial or contradictory issue, because I heard different reports regarding like, I remember initially we was talking about how reportedly or allegedly the situation was pretty bad on the French side and stuff like that. I was first hearing things that Marines wasn't helping things, and now we're hearing things that the relief that the French side seemed to be getting is like better than the relief that the Dutch side is getting, because at least when it comes to distributing goods, because
but it seems so. You've been hearing like things like gas.
I've been hearing that the supplies been on the island, been on the airport and harbor and stuff for some 5 days or some amount of days. I don't know exactly how many days it was, but they're just not being distributed. Whereas on the French side, the distribution from certain relief supplies and stuff come out quicker. Well. So now I don't know what is like the real situation, because I heard it was bad on French side. Don't seem like it okay, and seem like the opposite is being said about the Dutch side. Like,
but you see, I don't know. Okay, I can't necessarily speak on the French side because I ain't hear nobody from the French side to speak on that personally. But for the Dutch side, I know for sure what you were saying is true. The relief is there, like the food and the supplies and stuff like that. But they're not being distributed. It reached a point. Even my brother was like, "What going on?"
Like, I understood that they might have been a little hesitant or whatever initially right away, because you want to come up with an orderly plan and stuff. But I mean, you can't just be sitting on things while people are running out of supplies and things, even if it may not be a perfect distribution plan.
At least get it out to the people. But not only that, no. It's not only that. I don't know if people realize it's still the Caribbean now. Down there hot. All those things inside a container. That thing inside a container, those goods in plastic and heat don't go good. You can end up poisoning people the longer those things stay in there. So it's like, what was more the reason? Like, what are you doing? These things that are supposed to be helping the island of St. Martin are going to potentially kill the same people they're supposed to be sent to help for.
So at the same time, I don't want to just be aimlessly bashing anybody and saying that, okay, y'all ain't doing a proper job or whatever, because I'm up here. It's easy for me to be in the comfort of my home and not being affected directly necessarily by this whole situation. It's easy for me or for us to sit here and criticize when we don't know the exact situation and on the ground. I mean, we've been hearing reports and things like that. We've been in contact with people on the island and stuff, yeah. But still, even, I mean, like we talking about the different reports, and a lot of people just as confused as us to some degree, picking up whatever morsels of information they get during the lack of communication or the poor communication, and kind of running with it without necessarily being able to always confirm.
I see a report, and I had to pull up somebody on that. Actually, there was, I don't know if you had seen it. There was a picture on Facebook going around with police officers pushing a shopping cart full of stuff. And the person had put up a caption. It was
police.
Even police looting in St. Martin. So I went to the person post. I was like, look, first of all, do you know the context of that picture? How you know the police officers didn't just come from taking that from somebody and trying to return it to the store? And two, why would police be looting in full uniform, weapons and all?
I don't know.
When everybody on Facebook, everybody could be seeing St. Martin is a small island. Everybody know everybody. So if you're a police and you're in uniform and you're looting, obviously you're going to get seen. You're going to get caught. So why they would risk that? It don't make no kind of sense. And then you just going out there spreading that crap. The person, I mean, big outs. I ain't gonna say who the person is on air and stuff like that. But they did take it down. And I was like, bye, I'm glad to see that. Because at least they saw...
Realize the error of their ways.
Not only that, there's common sense. Like I said before, common sense ain't so common. But they see the thing of it. They, like you said, the error of the ways. Because, I mean, come on, man. It's already got enough stupidness going on and being said about the island. You don't need to go on and spread more, Chad. It's bad enough.
Very true.
But like...
Speaking of controversy and kind of contradictory statements and trying to discern what is fake news from the real and stuff like that, I don't know if you were seeing what happened with the Marvia Cook situation.
What? I see different. A lot of the headlines I'd see was in Dutch. So if you don't know by now, people, me and Dutch ain't really friends. I try, but we ain't friends. But so yeah, I couldn't read all of them, and then some posts like. It just was getting too much, so I just read it at the headline and just keep on going. What was really good with that? What was good with that situation?
Like, I feel like the way you just set that up is as if I have, the concrete evidence. And
why you bring it up like you like
I know everything, but I just mean to see if you was following that situation. No, because that is exactly one of those situations that, from what I was seeing, it's very.
What is the situation?
There was two different sides, and it seemed like okay. What I know basically is Marvio, he was a dude, he was helping out a lot with initially during the hurricane. I think he was one of the people that was posting and trying to contact people on the island, trying to interact with people on Facebook and stuff like that, get people in contact with their families and different things. And just in general reporting on the situation on the island and updating people of what was going on and stuff like that. And then I believe, I don't know if it was exactly the same time, but it seemed as though one report was like, when the king came, he needed a place to stay and stuff like that. And during his visit, the place that he was going to stay basically was the same place that Marvio and there were other people that lost their homes and stuff like that during the hurricane was taking shelter, which was DV Little Bay. And then a video came out and Marvio was talking about different things, and he mentioned that it seemed as though the people who was seeking refuge that are taking shelter, they basically are now being displaced because the king is here and the king and the Marines are reclaiming kind of the hotel, and they're using this as shelter. And there was a lot of things said. It was a 20-minute video and stuff like that where he was talking about the situation. And then there was also a statement put out by the Marines saying that they wasn't trying to displace anybody, and that was not what their intention was. And there was a deal or something that in place with the manager of DV that allowed the Marines to stay there and thing like that. And then there was an article from the Telegraph, I believe it was, that had the headline basically angry Simatino lies about something like that.
Okay.
It was like angry victim or something like that in Simatin lies. That was basically all the headline was, and it had like the most messed up picture that they could have found. Like they find the worst moment in that entire 20-minute video to pause it to have Marvia looking extra crazy and stuff like that as a thumbnail. And it's basically just they kind of briefly reported on the situation. They went and spoke to the manager of DV, who also coincidentally happens to be a Dutch lady, and a Dutch lady who was speaking, like, the interviews in Dutch and stuff like that. My initial thought when I saw that was like, okay, I don't know all the facts. I am on the situation, but I just, for some reason, I don't think that a Dutch media outlet is going to reach out to another Dutch person to disparage the Dutch military and potentially the Dutch king. So regardless if whether what Marvia was saying was true, whether it did actually did get kicked out, because it seemed as though the controversy was in the fact that they got, apparently the manager allowed people to come back. It seemed that they were kicked out first, and then they got to come back and they could have sheltered there for some amount of time. So it's like, yeah, oh yeah, they also said that he was just lying to the manager of DV. She was like, what was being said was so far from the truth and stuff like that. So basically just saying that homie was lying. And my thing was like, I was just trying to figure out what was the reason that Marvio had to lie in the situation. I understand they could be like, yeah, okay, maybe he's upset about the fact that he personally don't have nowhere to go or whatever. But that doesn't change the fact that it might be a messed up situation. If it's like, okay, the king is coming here, the whole building needs to be evacuated, everybody who's seeking shelter needs to be evacuated because the king and the Marines are taking place, and that seems to be the way it was reported. But it was a 20-minute video, and it just kind of summarizing. But the point of me bringing all of this up was just to say that it was a kind of controversial, or it wasn't clear exactly what all happened, what were the facts, whose side was exactly, like, whose side was accurate, who was right, and I'm not here to say who was.
But you see, my whole thing is with our situation, what the king was doing in the first place. What
he needed to come and see the damage for himself.
According, if I'm mistaken, last week,
and discuss. I believe he also came to discuss some amount of relief, but like
I said, according to what you was telling me, you and Jamila was telling me last week, the king don't really got much power. So what the bombers he was doing in Simati, all the protection, the flight, all that was money, no. All that could have been money that was could have been given to Simati instead, no. And then and then stories like you say, stories
certain
like
comments regarding the king's trip to Simati, and I saw certain Dutch people expressing the same thing regarding like, the government looking to cut back on so many things here, and like they're going to affect the Dutch people and stuff, and it's like, you going over there to do what? You're not going to go and help out building it now, whatever. Is like,
no, but from what I understand, he ain't going there to make no decisions either. So what you going?
The amount of money that, like you just said, the flight costing and the people who are going to protect him and all of these things that go along with just setting that trip up is like,
not only that, but okay, cool. The cost is one thing, but your coming down or your visit should not be a hindrance on the people. And I sorry. It just might be like blind belief, or maybe just because he has Simatino and his Dutch people or what. But I find it really hard to believe that Marvio would lie, especially on somebody like the Marines who was there to help. Everybody there was thankful that they're there, and everybody, when they see them, everybody was happy and stuff.
That was something he also expressed in his video as well, and that, like, just the way that the same Telegraph thing, kind of way they did it, they posted some of Marvio's video talking about the situation, and then they posted the interview with the manager from DV. But the way that they edited that 20-minute clip into just little, like, 2 brief clips into where he was saying, he made a statement where he said something like, it seems as though, Nederland is way for the Nederlanders, because of the situation, is like, he emotional in that situation. So he made the statement like, it seems as though island people are being put to the side in favor of the so-called actual Dutch people or whatever. So he put that was part of the video, but it's like that was the one part they choose to single out instead of like all the other things that he said to really kind of push the narrative. Like, look at this angry
if I'm mistaken
person.
If I'm mistaken, I'd see some people posting about it. People was like, yeah, he was
they
actually
do the man wrong. That
he was bigging up before he say whatever he had to say. It seemed like he was bigging up and thanking the Marines.
There were certain Marines and things that he did acknowledge and, you know, say that they was doing a good job on the island, and it wasn't like his goal to disparage the people and thing. He was from what it seemed as though it's like he was just accurately pointing out what happened and thing. But again, I don't know the facts of the situation, and
like you say, we wasn't there, but I find it really difficult to believe that this man would go against somebody or a group of people that the population in general are thankful for and bring up a story like that. And like I was saying before with the king, it's impossible you come into so-called help, wherever it is in your power or in your capacity to do, and you being a hindrance on the people who actually, the locals who actually need the help. You could go back the hell home and still be cool. When you leave, they're gonna still be people there. So when you look, you there, you putting people out, or your aunt, you and your entourage, we gonna call it, putting people out, and is homeless people you putting out? Because you have to stay there and your security got to stay there and stuff like that. What kind of crap is that?
If that, I feel like
if that
is necessary, if that's exactly how it went, if from what Marvio said is how it went, I agree with you. I feel like that's the position I would take. But because it's like,
but what would be,
don't know what
would be the reason for it then?
Like, based on the statement that the Marine self had put out, and what the manager of thing was saying, and at some point it did seem like, okay, they allowed him to stay or whatever. To me, it just seemed like the biggest problem in the whole situation was, or there may have been some deal with like, yeah, okay, the Marines could use DV as a shelter because they did say, yeah, there was some deal in advance or whatever. But I just think that message was not properly communicated to the people that was there sheltering at DV.
Yep.
To me, it seems like that's where the problem was. That there may have been some deal in advance, but it seemed, I don't feel as though Marvio would have made that video and said the things that he said in the video and described the situation the way he did if the people who were seeking shelter were aware that, okay, we're going to be put out because at some point the Marines are going to come in because there was agreement or whatever that this is going to be used as a shelter and they have permission from whatever. I feel like that just was not communicated properly. That's what I think. But again, I don't know. But
I mean, I think you could have a point, because if that's the case as well, the manager, fall on the manager either way, because communication should have been better, and they should have find ways to accommodate, especially if you know the king was coming. They know the king was coming. You be like, look, people, especially if you know which rooms he gonna be in already, which I sure they did. Look, whoever in there, look, such and such is what going on. Or you have this set of time to find somewhere else, or give the people an option at least, man.
The one thing that I didn't necessarily agree with the situation, one of the things I didn't necessarily agree with was the way that it was like the Marvio video came up where he said what he said about the displacement and how we being put out and stuff like that, and then the reaction of other people from the island and stuff trying to reach out to certain media outlets and thing to get them to be like, yo, you see this is happening, like somebody needs to report this and thing like that. I understand where they was coming from, and I get what they was trying to do, in the sense of like, yo, this is wrong, it needs to be fixed, and then we need to put pressure on it. And I think that played a role to some degree into it even being covered, and the statements being made and all of that, and the people being allowed to come back. I think that the social media pressure and the people trying to do all of that did have an effect. But the result that they got, when you look at the way the Telegraph reported the situation, basically being like, okay, well, you just straight up lying and stuff like that, and we clearly not on your side and thing. My thing was like, what else was to be expected in that situation? I really wasn't expecting Dutch media outlets to disparage the king and stuff like that, and the Marines. Like, they're not gonna attack their own people in that situation. If you force them to choose between, okay, the colony that we know, or at least has been talked about, not necessarily to
practically home against foreign.
Yeah, to some degree. I mean, they made it public. They made it known on numerous occasions that they not, or at least certain people within the Dutch government and stuff like that aren't happy about the situation. How they always have to send money to the islands or whatever, or help them with these situations and things like that. They've made these things known that the relationship is kind of a strained one.
Strained. That might be a different something to where I can lead into now. But 10.
After that.
So cool.
So what happened?
We out of.
What are you trying to say? Well, we taking this topic.
The support. If correct me if I'm wrong. 10 was supposed to be quote unquote the first step into a somewhat independent St. Martin, right? Okay. So that was like the direction our, again, quote unquote government was supposedly leading, right? Okay.
You're not wrong so far.
Okay.
At least not according to my knowledge, Keep going.
So, what would happen if St. Martin actually get to do what these people wanted and went independent?
Yeah, but according to me, it was never the plan to go like immediately independent right away. I mean, you don't.
Okay.
I feel like there needs when it comes dealing with government and stuff like that, bureaucracy is generally pushing papers around, getting laws passed and thing. Like there's all kind of treaties and different agreements and blah blah blah, things that ain't just going to be turned over and like gotten rid of in like one day. So this was always going to be a transitionary period, and I feel like they took the step into like they changed the status of the island. Now we're a country within the kingdom of the Netherlands instead of being a colony of the Dutch, although the relationship still is similar. But I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs, the specifics of what exactly changed. But I mean,
but let's talk about the idea.
Country St. Martin, supposedly that was being.
Let's talk about the idea then.
Independence.
Since we don't know the whole ins and out of it, and second of all, that was 7 years ago. 10. So if they ain't started, so if that was initially the idea and they ain't started that process by now, then it ain't gonna happen again. But anyway, you could really imagine if St. Martin had to go independent, like that there would be no help from the Dutch like that, right?
Of course.
You realize how like deep in shit St. Martin would have been, right?
This was something I believe he was talking about on the first podcast. I think it was when he had to get up here. But I mean, my whole thing is I feel that
there's a clear example.
Independence from the Dutch independence in the Dutch from the Dutch in this situation. Looking at how things go, if we were independent and like if everything was the same, this hurricane hit, but the only thing that was different was we were a completely independent nation, it would have been horrible for Saman, because I feel like looking at the time since we would have been independent, if 10 was like where we was going off from, it would have been bad for the island because we clearly would not have been ready to stand fully on our feet and take this and without no kind of outside help to come and rebuild the island and stuff like that. If you ain't got no allies, but I feel no nation, no matter how strong, is truly independent now. They all rely on their allies, and that's part of what makes even the independent nation from the US to certain European country and stuff like that. They all rely on their allies for certain things, and that's what part of what makes them strong.
Yeah, but at the same time, they depend on the allies to get up quicker. If the allies wasn't there, don't mean they wouldn't be able to get back up at all. Dog, if this had to happen in Samantha, we could not get up by ourselves.
I understand, but it's also an unfair comparison just based on landmass and stuff like that. There's a lot more wealth, resources and stuff. If you got a huge piece of land compared to a small piece of land, it's only logical that there would be more stuff in the huge piece of land than the small piece of land.
Okay, cool. But even that, but you hit the nail on the head there. So what the hell is Martin doing thinking about going independent when you have a small landmass, you don't produce nothing, you don't have nothing, you practically don't have nothing to trade.
I'm not necessarily against the idea of independence. I know a lot of people saying like, yo, this situation made it clear that St. Martin is not ready to be independent, blah blah blah. I understand what they're saying, but I still think like you gotta start somewhere, and I feel like being forever a colony I feel like being like forever going to people who don't necessarily want you have expressed that. And I know it's kind of different because I've seen the tremendous support and stuff like that from Dutch people who do sympathize and want to help, and people showing love to the island and stuff like that. But still, as I expressed earlier, is like it is a strained relationship that the St. Martin has with the mainland of Holland, and it's like, if people don't want you, like, why keep going to them and being in a situation where you forced to have to go to them and ask them for this or whatever and thing.
Because they who wanted it in the first place. Just because that's like saying, oh yeah, you gonna marry somebody, and because it's like 10 years down the line, you're like,
They wanted us for resources. That was the purpose of colonization. We going to take places that
people,
have things. Listen, we going to places to dominate the people, or decimate the people, or whatever. Take their resources, put it under our control so that we could benefit from these resources. Put it back to the mainlands, wherever that may be. And that's what all the European countries was doing. Why the Caribbean is just a bunch of colonies or whoever mainland we belong to and stuff. That's what it was doing there. They just came to a agreement that they could live it amongst themselves as the European countries. Be like, okay, y'all can hold this, we'll have this. And that's why I said it's just about working within your allies and stuff, benefiting from the strength of your allies, because we know we agreed to let you have such and such, and y'all could be the producers of this, and we'll count on you for that, and we'll go over here and specialize in this, so we could do this because for whatever reason our country may be more adept or more suited to produce this, or we got this natural resource or whatever. So like, just from that thing, you gotta work on that. You gotta have your allies. Yeah. And even if we independent, I feel like we don't necessarily have to be.
So who are allies gonna be? Say about Angola?
Yeah, that. Honestly, I feel like
who does get this stuff from the Dutch and British?
Again, we will never outproduce the bigger countries and things like that.
No, but it's not even about outproducing.
We cannot be self-sustaining within ourselves, dog. Not everything will be able to produce within the Caribbean. But you have multiple Caribbean islands, some with bigger areas than others. Some can produce certain things. You can produce certain things at certain islands if you have agreements, if you have incentive to. If you know that, okay, if Angola, one country, decide, okay, we're going to produce whatever it might be, salt, sugar, I don't know what the fuck, whatever it is that they choose to produce, that they have, if every Caribbean island signs some agreement and thing, like, we buying all of our shit from you and thing, that gives them more incentive to actually produce them, because they know it's going to be sold, because we supporting each other economies and things like that. And I feel that type of concept could be taken and applied to multiple different resources and things. Leave one island produce something, one island produce another thing, another island produce something else, and
we realize how unrealistic that is, though. That would never happen, because if for that to happen, other Caribbean islands have to, number one, be involved, and number one, get a separate status as well.
The obvious beginning is you already had things like the CARICOM Islands. There's already existing things that are treaties, or supposedly like a unifying force or whatever among the islands and thing. There's like the West Indian Federation or something like that exists, although you don't really hear about that. And there's the CARICOM thing, and these islands work together. There's already the framework for things like that, basically, for there to be a unity amongst the Caribbean. To me, it's not that unrealistic.
Yeah, like, but okay.
To actually start doing something when there's already groundwork existing for unity and stuff like that.
What are those things for, though? Like CARICOM and stuff like that.
I can't tell you that. Like
that would be my question, because according to my knowledge,
I don't have the answers on what all the CARICOM unification or whatever that status supposed to signify. Because I don't have that answer.
My according to my knowledge,
there was the Netherlands Antilles. We could start there. Like, I mean, we already was under the same thing, some kind of ally thing. We separate from that. Supposedly, the Netherlands Antilles don't exist anymore.
But you see, that still was a different umbrella, because that was umbrella.
That was the Dutch. I understand that, but we could start there with in sense of who we work with. Why can't we not work with people that we was already supposedly treated at the same from in the Dutch eyes? All us Antillians basically the same people anyway.
They would have to stop their relationship with their higher country, and a lot of their stuff, whatever they're producing already, go into that higher country and getting a thing of money. So if it's like telling a country, oh yeah, you don't get no more money, but we'll give you potato instead. You like, as a country, you would rather that? With the money, if you get the money, I can buy whatever it is I want for my country. I could allocate funds to certain things. With potato, I could only do certain things. I could cook potato in like different ways. Yeah, cool. But it's still only one thing. It's food. So why would you give that up as a country to go and work with another country and go through that struggle and process for put your people through that for however many decades they're gonna last, if it even lasts?
To me, it depends on what you want. And I just looking at what it seems as though Semartin wants regarding this whole independence talk.
You think more people rather independence than
my thing is to me.
Based on your just your personal environment and your group.
I brought this up last week regarding the just the difference in how things is being handled on both sides of the island.
Mm-hmm.
That concept to me is just, I find it stupid. The fact that there's this bureaucracy that gets in the way of people being able to receive help in a time of need, in a natural disaster when something like this is going on. The fact that we are technically two separate countries stopping people from being able to get help who need it, I feel like things like that is stupid. I feel like if we were free, if we was not under Dutch, French umbrellas, if those was not the things, if we were just one island that was Semartin, simple things like that could be solved. I know that's just one example or whatever. I know it can take all kind of bargaining and money or whatever to get us both, because we both own from Dutch and French, to get them to relinquish that control and however that process can go. I know that's a whole headache, but it seems that the main thing people are looking for is autonomy, being able to fend for yourself, not have to take orders from people where you might not agree with. These people don't live here. How are you making decisions for people? Like, you just sitting in an office somewhere in Den Haag or whatever, making decisions that affect people millions of miles away from you.
But that's why we have a government.
That's why I feel. But from my understanding, is like that is the government does have some control, but there's still certain roadblocks and things. The certain thing you have to go to this person for approval, or checks and balances with this person, and it's like,
to me that's
part of what slows down things back on the island.
But to me, that's only for funding, which is what we need, period. Because again, we don't produce tourism cannot sustain Semartin. Semartin does not have the land mass to grow anything of mass production wise, or to even plant to even think, period. No, right now. Well, okay, maybe not so much, because how you mean incorrect? What you gonna go things friend side?
I talking, but like, listen, you don't have to produce in the same way. Like, there's alternate ways. Okay, cool,
of production. They got the whole vertical farming and
lots of creative
stuff
ways
like
that people, lots of things people doing to allow small places, even places with not that much horizontal land, to still be able to produce things. Like, we have more than enough rooftops on Semartin of empty commercial buildings and buildings that was built for the purpose of renting out, but it seemed like the prices that they're trying to charge too high, so nobody even occupying these buildings. These buildings could be converted into different indoor farming things. We got sun, throw up some solar panels on it, make it so that this is a self-sustaining thing that ain't even costing no money, and you're growing inside of this place.
But
there are solutions that how much time and effort, money potentially do people want to invest looking into these type of solutions? It's like there are solutions.
I guess like what you say is all depends on what you want. I personally don't think
it may not be enough to completely offset and replace the amount of money that's brought in from tourism, for example. If we started producing something in this type of fashion and just turn every rooftop in Semartin, for example, into a garden or something like that. If you start to do something like that, make it an island-wide initiative and use every rooftop that's available, or that's maybe a government property or something, I guess you have to think somewhere along those lines. If you did something like that,
yeah, yo, all of that is sounds beautiful, right? But you know what it is? Actually, you have to change the mindset of the people for that to happen now.
People? Which people?
Government? All people. All. The government is part of the people.
But I just ask you, talking about the people of the island. If the
people of the island and the people of the government, because government have to enforce it.
I think if you tell the people of the island, now listen, we have a way that y'all could get fresher fruit and vegetable and healthier fruit and vegetables that's cheaper because it's not being imported and stuff like that. That everything else ain't taking as long to come in as all the imported stuff, because we don't know how long things sitting in those containers before they reach this man, before they get into the actual stores and stuff for people to buy them. Whatever vegetables can be important because we're island. If you tell me you have a better solution to the people of Semartin, that cheaper, fresher, healthier, at least regarding fruits and vegetables, I don't think they would necessarily be against the idea.
No, they can be against it, but how do you have time to do it? Well, like you self say, it
depends how much money. There's different ways you could go. If you just want to go hydroponic, there's automate. You don't need people to operate to grow food.
But aren't those things expensive?
As I say, it depends. If you want to take, there's
but then you just say again last week that 3/4 of the population
if you don't want to do it that way, be like, okay, cool. We gonna use labor that's already existing on the island. We got people in jail and stuff like that do community service out that may need community service somewhere. We gonna use these people. I know it's kind of unethical, or some people may be against that, and kind of like that's kind of taking advantage of labor or whatever.
No, I find that's all fine. But I mean, not only that. So you telling me that would involve, okay, cool. Even let's say that's a solution. So that means
integrated into a school curriculum.
Not solution, but idea.
Into a school curriculum. Maybe
have community
gardens and stuff. Introduce gardens within the schools and stuff. Have the students work on the garden and thing, so they can learn about food, where it comes from, all of these things. Get them biology lessons all together. Teach them patience of what it takes to plant and grow food. Being a self-sustaining island.
I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. I just saying
there's retired people potentially on the island that might have some time. You could create some initiative, get older people, maybe do some gardening and stuff like that. If you don't want to go with automated hydroponic systems and stuff.
All of that is amazing. But how St. Martin is right now, how the people is right now, even just how the world is right now, because it's not just St. Martin. As a collective, to get a collective group of people, the only place I've ever seen a collective group of people, a large amount of people, act the same way is Japan. Other than that, and that's because they've been taught that and they've been instilled that from young.
Obedience.
That's been in the culture from generations and generations. And it take them generations to instill that. I don't see that happening in St. Martin or any small community.
If you have a well-functioning government,
that's another thing. The government is part of the people.
If you have a well-functioning government of educated people that are going in there to really do a job, to me, it's possible.
Big man, look, almost everybody in government right now is educated. Okay,
because
so education don't got nothing to do with it.
What you trying to do, what you talking about, it starts, the education system of a country is basically how you get people in line. If you want a majority of people to think the same way, how you do that is quote unquote indoctrination or education, however you want to look at it, because if you take it to an extreme, it could be both basically. But there are certain reasons, there are certain types of like ideals and views in general that people have of the US and stuff like that, and that comes partly through education system, making people recite making the Pledge of Allegiance and different things like that was instituted at certain schools. Like you had to know that, you had to recite that every morning. The same way like certain Catholic schools, though, you have to recite this prayer every morning or whatever. Make sure, like me going in the school I went in primary school and stuff like that, it was a Christian school. There were certain things that was like everybody has to do, and because of that way you have to do it every day, so you learn it, and it makes it so that this is just the normal thing within that culture. And that's the same way how if you're trying to make everybody more, or if you want people to be more socially conscious, I think about planting and growing and stuff like that, you start the same way. You can be like, okay, we're gonna make some changes to the curriculum. And of course it's not going to reach everybody, because that's always the case. The older generation of people who ain't getting it taught from birth and fresh into that system, they're always going to be more resistant to it. But that's why you
and those the one that are always constantly in government.
That's why you come up with new systems and new ways of reaching these people to communicate the same message too. It's a process that is not going to go right away. But if you have something like that,
I ain't saying you're wrong. I ain't saying we don't got options. I just say St. Martin not gonna do it. So in this generation, the next generation, and the generation after that, from how I seen, how our in general, I'm gonna say our because I have St. Martin too. Our mind state is not there yet, big man. It's not there. You telling me the same people been in government for the past 3 decades, and you want to talk about hydroponic and people coming out as a collective and doing shit together? Really? It sounds all nice and dandy in a package and stuff like that, but to actually go into it, when you look, it's a crap of shit. It is a pile of shit.
I personally believe, maybe that's just the optimist in me still, that somewhat lives.
We need people like you, but I'm gonna be a realist though. Right now, for that to happen, it would have to be it's gonna be a slow.
We need more people
process.
to listen to this podcast. That's the way it can happen now. If everybody on Simati listen to this podcast and start hearing the vision and start to understand the views and things, what could potentially be if we make some changes.
On a serious note, not only this podcast, but this podcast and anybody young coming up, because we that got the ideas is we gonna have to be taking control of the places.
I'm like not that whole no. Do you hear about what Nelly starting as well with the student late show and stuff? That seems to be like another platform that's coming up for students in the Netherlands at least.
I hear about it. Shout out Nelly. I got catch up on the episodes and stuff like that.
Like I don't know if it's out yet, but from what I know, it's supposed to be coming. I think
no, but he had some kind of something before, and I had watched an episode and it was cool.
Like I saw one where he had Rum on and they did some performance.
I didn't get to see that one, but
another young lady that I think played guitar and then Rum did a freestyle and stuff that. So it seemed like a cool vibe from the early ones that he did, but I wanted to see why he comes with the reinventing or like whatever it is that they're now working on now. I don't know all the details. It's been a while since I reached out and actually had a conversation with him, but I mean, I've been supporting all of those type of things, because I know that he's a passion when it comes to at least the culture of hip hop and stuff like that. I know he's real passionate about that specifically. So like,
yeah, shout out Nelly.
Yeah, man.
But I mean, people like that too. Everybody who coming up with a platform, coming up with different ideas, coming up with to share things and stuff like that. I mean, we are the people that got be starting that. But it's like, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening on a scale we're going to make a major effect right now. Put it that way. Like, cool, we got some new people there in government that trying to do this thing, but they just getting their feet wet. They ain't got no experience, nothing like that. I mean, they got other little things coming here and there, but where somebody who could actually be in power, who could actually affect something, whether it's somebody who got a big business or something like that on the island, and
change is slow, always has been, always. Change is slow, always has been, always will be. But fuck that, I'ma bust back till they kill me. That was a J. Cole line, but the first part I feel is pretty much true. That was like what he said from his conversations with Barack.
I know about Kill Me, but we gonna try a thing. I mean,
Barack was basically change is slow, always has been, always will be. And that's all it is. Like if you want to acknowledge that, it's a fight that you keep going, you keep trying to spread certain ideas, and if they catch on, they do. Tupac said it. He may not cause the change, but hopefully he could spark the person that will or something along those lines. Paraphrasing that Tupac quote, but
I feel, but we see.
You may not change the world, but you could spark that next person who might.
And again with that whole sparking thing, I hear they had, I don't know if it's somebody young who was doing it. I definitely wasn't nobody from St. Martin, but up here in Holland they had this whole Red Cross thing that it was bringing up money. And I think it was you that was telling me about that. I think so, no?
Possibly, but
that Red Cross had started up something for the people of St. Martin, but then people that was like concerned about where it going to and all that kind of crap.
Hero number, I forget what exactly it was, that was started since the hurricane in an attempt to raise money for the relief efforts and stuff like that. But when I initially saw it, my first reaction was I was thinking on the situation that happened in Haiti with that relief effort. So I just was immediately skeptical once I saw Red Cross involved. I know it's potentially kind of different because that was the American Red Cross and this is the Rode Kruis. So technically it's like the Dutch Red Cross. But to me, it's all Red Cross. That's all I saw. And I was like, okay, I'm skeptical of that because I know that the history of what all happened with Haiti, it was something like 500 million was raised. What? And the Red Cross built 6 houses with 500 million. They had made all kind of promises and saying they was gonna build a certain amount of permanent houses and blah blah blah. And something like $500 million was raised from the American Red Cross, and they built 6 houses, and it was all kind of nonsense from not the people who was actually doing it. Like when they would organize town hall meetings or whatever to actually see okay, how are we going to help the people, and when they get people together and stuff like that, you have a bunch of Red Cross workers that don't even speak Creole or French and things. So how do you plan to help people when you can't even communicate? You don't know how to go about building regarding the laws and everything in Haiti. How are you planning to do this? And that was why the money just went like people don't know where all the money went. Basically, out of 500 million from that was just that. Like,
how you gonna lose 500 million? I mean, $5 is something. But I mean,
basically that had me a little worried when I saw that this same thing. Apparently, this morning, I saw an article that was going around saying that same Hito, whatever number it was, that was started, that was affiliated to the Red Cross, that was raising money for St. Martin. Apparently, they've raised up to like 6 million.
What?
Already 6 million euros they've raised already. So I'm just wondering, like, where is this money going to go?
I not the government.
I wonder how much of this 6 million is actually going to reach those affected in St. Martin. It's like, I know a lot of people on St. Martin was saying that they were skeptical about donating to the Red Cross. I wasn't the only one. Like, I just expressed my views, but there was other people that said the same thing, and that's why we was pushing the Rebuild SXM and all the local initiatives that we know the faces and stuff, basically, of the people that are involved. We could hold these people accountable in case anything goes wrong with money and stuff like that. We know where to find these people, but the Red Cross, like, I don't know nobody at the Red Cross personally. I don't know who's the head of that organization, and I just wonder how much the head of that organization is going to take and categorizes administrative costs and stuff out of that $6 million that's been raised and stuff like that.
Probably like a good 2.5.
And that is just sad. I feel like, because to me is just a sad thing that the fact that I see 6 million raised in relief effort wasn't a happy thing. Like, normally in a general situation, if you see something that like $6 million was raised so quickly, this is like within a week, I believe, since the hurricane hit.
You know they're saying ignorance is bliss because you know too much. You see how it happened in other people. You went and do the research of how it happened in other areas.
You're right.
And because,
honestly, you're not
because
right.
of that,
you're not wrong.
Because of that, the first thing you see, like, what? That's a scam. Or like if you hear it,
I just cautious. I just like,
it's just like if I tell you, okay, cool, yo, I have a business opportunity. If I come to you, if I come to you and say, yeah, but I got Mr. King, I got a business something here. If you go get 2 other people to come work for you, you can get this much a percentage, and then you gotta encourage them to get 2 other people to work for them. What's the first thing that come to your mind?
Scheme.
Exactly. And why is that?
And shit, like,
because we've been hearing it. We've been seeing how that thing is a scam. So like it's sad.
One that is used in Holland? I forget the name of it, but I want to know shit on that. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what you say is true, but a lot of things is sad how things develop these days. But especially charities is legit supposed to be for the people of wherever local they come to be legit on money making something or something to write off for taxes.
Honestly, like, just because of how many things, like, I don't trust nobody. Like, I'm at that. Like, in some areas of life, I want to be an optimist and stuff, but in some areas, I feel like I'm a jaded, bitter old man and shit like that. Like, I just see it and think, I don't believe this. I know this is all nonsense, and I just feel like certain things I just quick to see the negative in, like with charity organizations, with religious organizations, stuff like that. I just see like, okay, I know that y'all getting this tax benefit, not paying taxes.
Because you know the history of
that's
it.
Like the first thing that comes to mind when I look at either one of them, or like a charity organization. I remember there was an article about, I think it was one of the Saudi billionaires or so. The man had then donate his entire net worth or something like that to charity, and it was like 3 billion or something like that. I was like, okay, true. So he just wanted to put his money in a non-taxable situation. That was like my initial first thought. Like, this is not a generous act. Maybe that says more about me than this person. Maybe something wrong with me, but that's just how I saw it.
It could be. I didn't really think about that, but that ain't bye. Something wrong with you know.
Spend too much time looking into conspiracy theories
and
stuff like that.
I think that mixed with the fact that shit like that actually has happened is kind of is a mixture of
like,
it.
That's
is a mixture
the problem
of it.
is,
you
like,
don't know what to believe no more.
When you look into things that are quote unquote conspiracy theories so much, and then you come to realize that there is some facts behind it, or it turns out that was actually the case and stuff like that, it's like it only reinforces you to be like, to start to wonder and think more like, what else could possibly be going on out there? If this was supposedly a conspiracy theory, then you look into it and turn that was actually factual. Like,
but you see, that's my whole. But that's why I don't understand how people could not believe it in the Illuminati. You telling me you don't believe like a group of people cast into the room like, all right, yo, I control America. You control South America. You practically control Europe, and you practically control Africa. You practically control Asia. So what? Are we doing this thing or what? You telling me that impossible?
And the crazy thing is just how blatant it is be put out there to some degree. Like, there are certain situations, certain things that I've looked into in the past that I was like, okay, so I personally believe that this might be Illuminati meeting, and that was one of those things. Actually, this happened right here in the Netherlands. Actually,
what are the thing in Netherlands?
The Bilderberg group, the Bilderberg meetings, like they've happened here in the Netherlands stuff, and that's just a group where you got people from the world's political and economical elite, basically. So like world leaders and stuff like that, and people who running Fortune 500 companies and stuff. These people all just get together, and it's not public. The agenda is not made public, as in what these people gathering in secret, and no press is allowed inside of there to talk about. Like, nobody knows what it is, and that just makes room for there to be all of these conspiracy theories, because it's like, the logical thought is, if you have all of these people who hold so much power on a worldwide scale, if all these people are meeting up together and they were doing something for the good of humanity, why would they not want to publicize that? Who doesn't like good publicity and being able to take credit for stopping climate change, for example, or whatever it might be afflicting the world?
Profit in it.
That's my thing. So if you have all these people gathering together, and obviously it ain't nothing like that they come like.
Listen, let's make the world a better place.
These people would love to take the credit. Who would not love to take the credit for these things if that was what they was really doing? And the fact of it is, like, the fact that they ain't doing, nobody is doing that, is nobody knows what is on this agenda of all these super powerful people. Is like, it just leads people to come up with all kind of theories of what it is they're doing, like Illuminati stuff.
It's legit levels to this shit.
And it's like, there's the Bilderberg meeting, and that's one that I know that's just like a meeting of all these people. Then there's another one, something like the Sun Valley Media Conference, which is something that happens in the States, and is like almost an equally secretive meeting where you have all the people, like top media moguls and stuff from who control Facebook and Snap and
all
whatever.
Apple meetings is Illuminati too. All them secret Apple meetings, they about Illuminati. I'm sorry, they got some part to do with it. Okay,
but that's just where supposedly what is on record is that that's where certain trade mergers and acquisitions and stuff like that is discussed. And thing if we can buy up this new tech company and all of that. And it's like, you telling me all these people who control media, the things that control all of us, the things that dictate what it is that we talked about. They might not control our brains, but they at least have the power to agenda set.
What we hear.
Yeah, like we talk about certain things because it was posted on the Breakfast Club, or posted on whatever mainstream media news site and stuff like that, and that starts the conversation, and we all focus on that and stuff like that. Right. And you telling me these people just meeting for all completely noble purposes, and like they can't be like, okay, you know what, we don't really want this issue to be circulated too much, I talked about and stuff like that. Is it not possible?
Hey, sorry, one person could be trusted, a group of people can't be trusted. Nah, but maybe that's just like my pessimistic point of view. But hey, but really, just like that with anything else, you just gotta take what you gotta be realistic by.
But since you just like bring up Apple and stuff like that as the Illuminati people,
right there's Illuminati people.
iPhone X.
I still okay, no. You see, that iPhone X thing will cause a problem. That iPhone X will cause a problem.
Why you say that?
That whole facial recognition type stuff. I've been seeing the memes and stuff like that.
I've been watching that, and that just look like extraness to me, like like unlocking the phone while the person's sleeping type things. Like,
okay. Granted, that is.
But supposedly you need to have eye contact with it or something like that. So you
I have to be open
while sleeping.
But then you know what? Okay. I just watch I just listen to my little conspiracy theories here and there. I just dabble in it. But when I see that, I was like, all right. Are you making this a little bit too out there now? You see, you notice if whoever buy an iPhone X now, they like, okay, our faces are thing done up there from Snapchat and them kind of ones, but it's going to be legit. Like out there, like me from everybody from media companies to police and them kind of ones could just have, you can't say you're on the grid no more.
Yeah, but supposedly, Apple refused to work with the police and stuff like that, with the feds in the past when they had some situation where they needed to gain access to some iPhone that was locked. It was a murder victim or a murder suspect phone or something like that, but it was locked and they couldn't get into it, so they're reaching out to Apple to try to get a phone unlocked if they could do some master unlock type of thing.
And
they basically was like, no, we're not doing that, because if we give this out, that kind of puts it out there and allows anybody out, like, that's giving secrets. Like, we don't have no backdoors in the technology, and we can't just put that information out there, because then it violates the privacy or weakens the privacy potentially for other people out there.
But yes and no. Yeah, you see that? I think that would be.
I still think they're working with the feds. I don't believe them. Those are the public statements that they have to make to retain their customers.
Meanwhile,
and all that. But we've been knowing cookies had access to all the information. They track you in
exactly. So meanwhile, they're saying like, yeah, we're not going to cooperate. This and that privacy issues. This and this and this. And meanwhile, they're in the back with Facebook and like, Snapchat and all this kind of thing. Like, so how much you want for this information? How much you want for that?
I ain't saying necessarily like, okay, they're just straight up building up a facial recognition database.
Somebody is. Guarantee you that somebody is.
They definitely have the potential though. That information is out there. Like,
it might not be Apple per se, but one of them government agencies doing it.
Yeah.
Whether it's FBI, CIA, Interpol, DEA, somebody. So it could be all of them for all we know, but they doing it. And just not the world gonna blow up because these technology going too fast.
You took that to an extreme quick. Just not the world gonna blow up. Look at them. I understand a lot of information out there and thinking. I just trying to see the step from privacy invasion to world blowing up. It's like
it's too much.
Too interesting. Too opposites. Like two serious extremes you went to there, but.
But again, it's too much. That everything from that, people ain't gonna have no privacy no more. Something gonna go wrong. Somebody gonna press the wrong button, and boom, everyone gonna blow up.
That's just the times you're living in. I mean, since the involvement or introduction of social media and stuff, privacy just been reduced, like getting smaller and smaller. The amount that people feeling comfortable with sharing just been increasing and stuff like that. And I feel like that trend is only going to increase as the younger generations that are being raised with it and stuff like that.
Just now we'll be on camera 24/7. You pop up of like like those drones that they got now that can follow you. And you just you put that in the air and then your whole life you call it 24/7, eating, sleeping, shitting, bathing, everything.
I mean, I feel like we're going to get there in a matter of time anyway. Like with how social media is, everybody has a camera on their own. Is like everything is being recorded soon. We're going to be living in a Minority Report type of world soon. You can't people can't even commit crimes because we got artificial intelligence to help us anticipate and look at certain patterns and stuff like that and behavior to predict when a crime is going to happen, and we can stop it before it even happens type of vibe. Like we're gonna be entering that kind of world soon.
But soon, like you said, we practically there already.
The latest episode of South Park was touching on some of that. So
I didn't see that. No, I see you had posted that. All together, I gotta watch it.
Like this morning, I had watched itself, and I was like, why they was touching on self-driving, artificial intelligence, and how much people use and stuff like the Alexa and like Siri types of things, those type of devices that you could just have in your house and say like, Alexa or whatever, add this to my shopping list or call this person or blah 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 and that kind of thing.
Look right. The world is a scary place.
And they also incorporate the whole riots with the Confederate flags and all of that type of stuff. Like, South Park is ridiculous. I wouldn't say it was one of their best episodes, but I was just happy South Park was back. Like, they've had better episodes. It still had some laughs and then, of course. But
it wasn't like extremely funny. Like that Human Centipede part one. Up to this day, that episode is still
South Park is ridiculous. Most of the stuff that they just do on that is just so out there. Like it's hard not to laugh, but it's so well thought out most of the time and stuff. Like the way that they just play on certain societal things going and incorporate them and just really shine a light on how ridiculous certain things is that society just be getting on about. Like South Park does a great job.
And Family Guy too, but I think about Family Guy.
I feel like South Park does a better job. I feel like South Park does it more intelligently than Family Guy a lot of the time.
To a certain extent.
I like Family Guy too. I love Family Guy, don't get me wrong. But I feel like South Park does a better job at the way that they just incorporate what really going on into the story and still make it make sense in the world of South Park with certain characters. Like
it's true.
During the Trump situation, how they got the Mr. Garrison character and how they made him into like the Trump type of figure and stuff like that. And the Caitlyn Jenner situation as the running, like certain things, like they just, I don't know, that they're amazing.
But with that, I think we stray off a bit from the topic, but it's okay because I think we can close it with that. Again, everybody, thank you for listening. Again, even more, thank you for donating and having us in your prayers. St. Martin, we're going to bounce back sooner or later. Hopefully sooner than later.
Yes, and just to reiterate, if you'd like to donate, please visit rebuildsxm.com or make St. Martin great again for those that are not in the Netherlands.
But not only that, for those who want to get more information as well, you could look at Make St. Martin Great Again. It shows you all what we're doing up here in Holland and around the world, because it's not only Holland, it's Toronto.
I was just going to say there was another initiative in Canada and stuff like that. I saw some people started that was going under a different name. Yeah, she was one of the people that I saw that was sharing it. I don't remember what the name of it was.
Big things over there.
For those in that part of the world, I think that's the one that you should get in contact with.
Mm-hmm.
I'll post the links for Rebuild SXM and Make St. Martin Great Again in the comments of this video as well, so you can visit those and follow all the steps.
Help St. Martin be great again. But like we say every week, please like, share, comment on the video, tell us what you think about it, tell us any topics you specifically like us to discuss, anybody you would like us to come to have on the show, let us know and we'll try to make it happen.
Yeah, and I wanted to try to do a exiting line, a closing line,
Let me hear you.
I feel like what do you think about see you next, or something along the lines of like see you the next time we link up, or we'll I feel like our show is called Link Up. You gotta have something like see us next time we link up, or join us the next time we link up. Right, something along those lines.
We'll test it out. You want to test it out? You want to go ahead?
I know.
Go through. Go through that. Let me see.
But is either that or the Dragon Ball Z nonsense?
No, alright, no. Not again. Not this week. We're not doing that this week. So come, let me see you.
Well, thank you for joining us on the Link Up, and we'll see you the next time we link up. I don't know if you feel weird, Dad.
No, I
said the Link Up too much.
I feel you wanted to go into that next time about Dragon Ball Z thing. I feel like you wanted to say that again at the end there. So everybody, to make this not too long, we're gonna link up next time. I see you again next week.
I think that's it. Yeah, we're gonna link up next time. Something like that. That is it. Yeah. Doesn't know people.